I think if it wasn't for all of the fathers of America, I think Waffle House would be out of business. What is it about Waffle House that makes every dad in America see it as the greatest place ever? It's 24 hours. It's a nice diner. They got good eggs. They got good omelets. They got good chili. They got good coffee. And they got good hash browns. What is there to not like? But apparently every other person. My wife, my oldest son, my daughter, my next oldest son, and then my youngest son. They all can't stand Waffle House. What is wrong with Waffle House? Welcome to Rumble Book Club. I'm your host, Michael Hernandez, and this is the show where a normal guy like me can talk about interesting books I've read, all the new, good, and bad. So if you like the show, you like the content, you like the books that I talk about, or maybe I just have a punchable face. Whatever keeps you clicking, fool. You can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Parler, or you can subscribe right down below on YouTube and Rumble. More importantly, be a part of the conversation. Let me know what you think about these videos, share them with your friends, and comment down below. Let me know if there's any books you want me to cover, and I'll be happy to put them on the list and mention them on the show, and I might even give you a shout out for recommending me to a good book. Today we're going to circle back to one of my favorite fiction writers, Stephen King, and one of his older works. Today we're going to take a look at Christine. I think Christine is the perfect ghost story about two friends and a haunted 1958 Plymouth Fury. Now let's get into our three-part criteria of the book, starting with the aesthetics, what it looks like and how it pops off the shelf, getting into the readability, how it reads not just mentally, but also physically, if it's physically an easy book for your eyes to read, and then getting into the content, what story or information you're actually getting between the covers. Now let's start with the aesthetics. I have the original first-year printing from 1983, and I gotta say, I really miss covers like this. It's got a vibrant red printing for Stephen King, and the title is just illustrated beautifully. I really wish books still went to this really stripped down but creative look. It's very 80s. I love the 1980s as far as how they design books. I just love it. I'm a nut about that. So as far as the aesthetics, I'm a little biased, but I'm gonna give it a perfect score, 10 out of 10. Now let's look at the readability. King is on top of his game, which is one of the reasons why this is a constant fan favorite among his constant reader. He starts in first-person narrative and shifts midway to a more traditional narrative, then back to first person to end the book. The story is smooth and the language does not trip up the reader, which Stephen King is actually very good at. It's a fun read. You can also take a guess that King is a bit of a car nut from the way he writes it. Physically, it has cream-colored pages, although this specific copy is a little yellowed with age, and clear font with good-sized margins. Just absolutely perfect score as far as the readability, 10 out of 10. Now, let's look at the content. The story follows the main character, Dennis Gilder, a high school football player, and his childhood best friend, Arnie Cunningham, who's a smart, acne-ridden, and perpetually bullied kid. Dennis is driving both of them home from work one summer day when Arnie spies an old house with a rusted 1958 Plymouth Fury on the lawn. It looks awful, but Arnie is absolutely smitten by it. He springs at the chance to buy it from a haggard old man named Roland D. LeBay, who sells it to him while noting that the car's name is Christine. For those constant readers, you'll appreciate the name Roland, especially from a character who's completely the opposite of the Roland you've come to know from the Dark Tower series. Now, Christine immediately causes rifts, not just in Arnie's friendship with Dennis, but also with his parents, who didn't expect him to buy a car at all and are used to being able to kind of foresee and control everything Arnie does. This is one area where he just kind of goes rogue. He brings it to a local auto garage owner and small-time criminal named Darnell at a place called Darnell's Garage, and begins to restore it in a very strange and haphazard way that really doesn't correlate with traditional means of restoring a car. As the car begins to renew, Arnie begins a change of his own, causing his friendships and relationships to fracture even more. His temperament becomes volatile, and he gets more and more possessive of Christine and more blocked off from any discussions in regard to Christine. Even a new girlfriend, the beautiful Lee Cabot, who's a new student from up north, can't turn Arnie from his obsession over the Fury. Over the course of the book, disturbing changes become secondhand problems when even more sinister happenings begin in the small town. Bullies who have picked on Arnie for years suddenly begin to suffer horrible consequences for their crimes against Arnie and Christine directly. And Dennis and Lee begin to suspect that there is more to the car than just curious repairs and bad vibes when they're around it. That's all I'm going to spoil for you, but it is action-packed, it's fun, and it brings back actually memories of your own childhood, friends, and kind of makes you miss those days, minus the, horror of ghosts in the machine and being run down by an evil Plymouth Fury. It's a great book. I really enjoyed it. It has kind of that stereotypical love triangle going for it, but other than that, it is a phenomenal read. 9 out of 10 on the content. I found this book at Half Price Books. You can find a lot of the original editions of books at Half Price Books and at your local bookstores. That's where I love finding books, especially by Stephen King, where a lot of the book jackets are really creatively done like this. So you can find it just about anywhere. It is one of Stephen King's most popular books. If all else fails, you can take a trip down eBay or Amazon to go buy it. But again, I'd stick to your local book dealer. The book is Christine by Stephen King. Go out and get yourself a copy. Thanks for watching, everybody, and go read something.